Did you know that Ancestry.com has over 40 billion records? Well, no wonder when you're trying to search in there, you feel like you just can't find anything. Well, today we're going to unlock the hidden places to find things on Ancestry.com that were staring you right in the face. And we're talking about suggestions, Soundexes, and search limits. So let's get into it right now. And in fact, I have a bonus number 4 for you at the end or near the end of the video. So, all right, thanks for tuning in. This is the Family History Foundation, the past relative to the future. And my name is Franklin, your host, and I'm so happy to have you all back here. And welcome. Head on over to familyhistoryfoundation.com for more information. So, anyway, here we go. You know, we've all been there, right? We've racked our brains, we've spent hours, whittled away time and energy on Ancestry, but we keep coming back because we love it. And we love our ancestors and we love family history so much, don't we? But here's the deal, right? We've been entering things into these search fields and getting either too many returns or being frustrated by not really finding the information we want in a clear, cohesive, and cogent way. So what I'm going to do is sort of unlock some of the hidden features and tools that I've used, ways to manipulate these fields so that you can find the people you're looking for, okay? So again, we're going to take it in 3 steps here. There's 3 techniques I want to offer you: suggestions, Soundex, and of course search limits. Okay, so let's look at suggestions. So oftentimes, like, we can search, I'll just go over this very briefly, right? When you go into the search function here, we have a few different options, and some of this can be overwhelming to people, especially if you're just starting out, right? You can search all collections, and this is the page I'm on here, okay? And you can search, and it'll tell you to jump back into where you've been, explore by collections. All of these menu options, by the way, sort of repeat in the menu, drop-down menu here. So you can search specifically census voter lists, birth, marriage, and death. If you're just into that, military, immigration, travel, search other public member trees through the card catalog, which I think is a fabulous thing here. And you have a search full text, which is new. So we can discover that together in a subsequent video here. But let's just start with the basic all collections. I like doing all collections or card catalog, because when you search through all collections, well, it's good and bad, because you can get a lot of different returns here. Okay, let's just enter a name. Okay, let me just show you real quickly here. Okay, I'm gonna enter in an ancestor who has kind of an unusual name, because we're going to use that later in the Soundex portion of this video. But if I enter this, look, it's going to say, your search is too broad. Tell us more so we can learn more about your ancestor. Yeah, because, right, that's how many out of the 40 billion records, you're just entering a name that's not even a common name. It's not a John Smith type name, but look at that. You can't even handle that, okay? But let's just put birth here, okay? So that tells you there's a lot of records behind it, which is encouraging in a way, right? At least you're not entering a name and it's telling you, we have nothing back for you. So let's just enter the birth year. It's my 5th great grandfather, okay? So we're going to just search and see what we get, okay? Now, here's the trick with suggestions, okay? This is the suggestions suggestion, okay? So, you know, it's going to tell you what you have in your tree already, and then it's going to tell you that you can filter, right, either using the Soundex, which we'll get into in a second, and also, like, you know, playing with this here, okay, and the birth year. And of course, you know, you guys maybe have messed around with this part, but what I'm after here is the suggestions, not this suggestions, okay? These are suggestions. Okay, you can browse by collection, switch to smart search, but what actually is kind of cool is, let's just click on this. Maybe you say, okay, this looks like my person, Jeremiah, 1740, Virginia. Death walk. In fact, I know that is the person. Okay, so I'll use this as a sort of touchstone here. So this is where I want to do. Just open up almost any record, right? If you go back to the list, just open any record. And again, I say this and I'll say this again. When you guys are opening records or sub records within records, I always encourage you to open it in another tab or in another window, because say you find something intriguing like this and you click on it, now you're buried 2 levels deep in Ancestry's URL spaghetti plate. Okay, what you want to do is open this in another tab so that you can go jump back and forth. And when I say tab, I mean browser tabs. So if you're in Chrome or Firefox, you're just opening it up on another tab on the top. Okay, so that way you can just click back and forth. And say this turns out to be a lead that you're not really interested in, you can just close the tab and then you're back to this page. Or what I encourage is go back to the main search page, right? So if you go back here, I'm going to just do it really quickly. Okay, because this is what happens. Say I didn't like that and I go back here. Now this has to reload. It might change. So if I just sort of, click, right? If you click it, you have a drop-down menu. If you use Control on a Mac, you can open link in new tab. Ooh, open link in split view. Ooh, let's try that. Oh, that's kind of a new feature on Chrome. I like this. This is kind of cool, right? Maybe we can close these windows down. Not quite sure how to do that. This is new for me. Okay, well, you just close it, okay? I just used Command W. Okay, so let's do a little searching here. We're going to click on this record to open up this value here. And now look what's going to happen, okay? We're going to head on over to this page here and get all the returns for this ancestor. Now here's what the suggestions feature is. This is it, like these. Okay, so of course this is the primary record, right? But what you have here are suggested records. So maybe this is what you're looking for. Maybe this is your ancestor. Maybe it's not. But the power is what lies here. So this is like a search function within your search function, and it's super, super powerful. I use this all the time. Like, even you can almost click on any record in here. It doesn't matter, because what you're going to do is evaluate this search from the next level down. It's like drilling down and focusing your research without you having to go back here and keep entering in and adjusting all your dates. You go back here to edit search, but you don't have to go back here and edit your search. It's going to give you all these fields, and you may think like, oh, I didn't find what I want. I'm going to edit this and edit that, which you can do, of course, but let Ancestry work for you, right? These are things that are right in front of you that maybe you're not utilizing to the most maximum that you can. So for me, I like to just scroll down here, right? Because if you have an idea of where your ancestor lived at a certain place in a certain time, say Virginia, well, now I'm scrolling down through here and I see records from North Carolina, Alabama, from Georgia, right? And if your ancestor lived in any part of the country, this is relevant to you, because now maybe you have cause to sort of navigate these records, because they certainly are within the same time frame of a birth in 1740. So again, maybe you want to look at this because people moved a lot. If you go and take you read my basic introductory to genealogy, I have an article linked below, which is like your basic introduction. If you want to learn how to use my source hound methodology, it's free. Just go read it. And it really details. And one of the things we talk about, right, is that people moved a lot, right? We look through our ancestral lens and research with rosy colored glasses sometimes, and we say, oh, they lived in these perfect lives and they lived in a place in a town and grew up there. It's very romantic, but oftentimes not true, right? I always tell people, it's like, we wouldn't want to live in the world 400 years ago. It was a rough place. So people moved a lot. And, so saying, okay, they started off in one state, moved to another state, happened more often than we sort of think. So again, this is good to stir up your research pot, so to speak, right? Keep you active. And so I'm going to look at these returns, and I'm going to look at these returns. They're just sitting here, and they're going to really help you out. Okay, so that being said, that is our suggestions tip. Now let's look at the Soundex, because this is a really cool thing. So I want to ask you a question. What is your most difficult surname that you're researching? Because this is going to help us here. Because I venture to guess that if your surname that you're trying to research is, let's just say, Hildebrand, okay? I'm trying to think of something that's a little phonetically challenging, okay? So that might make it difficult. Say if you're going to enter an ancestor in a search field, what that name might be. Yeah. So again, like if we're looking for names, we want to make sure that we understand this search field here. Okay. So if we enter Hildebrand, okay. Well, yeah. How's that? I mean, let's just say 1840. Okay. We don't know where. Let's just search anything. Okay. How many names or returns can we get from this one ancestor? All results. Well, look at that. This is 1 of 50 of 723,000. Franklin Hildebrand. Look at that. I got my name back in a search return. I love it. Okay. My surname isn't Hildebrand, but look, you can search this for all these different ways. So again, the broader you go, or the more narrow you go, you're going to get different returns. So you can use this Soundex feature to search. Okay, so what you want to do again is adjust this and play with it. Now you have, well, it didn't really adjust it much, did it? Right? But if you click edit here, right, you can use sound features. Hildebrand, TT, Hildebrand, right? So we can use an asterisk to give us Hildebrand. We can put in an asterisk to cover variables in here. So let's just kind of search using this and see what we get. All results. Okay, so it's just going to open up this avenue for us if we use these different qualifiers in our search. And this, this can help you sort of broaden your search by a lot. And maybe you're not maybe you know how your ancestor's name is spelt, right? So you can remove these, right? Or just take them out and see what happens. See if Ancestry is going to adjust these for you. But this is a neat way, a nifty way to sort of help you in your research using these variables. So go and play with this because I think it's super powerful, right? Because if you search for it and you don't turn on these things, right, it's like this limits your returns. But if you go broad, let's go super broad. And of course, let's constrain the years, but open up the name, right? So that you want to play with this. Even though you go broad in this name without filling in the variables, right, such as a question mark or such as an asterisk, then you're limiting yourself. But you can open yourself up to variants of a name based on this. So this is a powerful tool that you can use. Go and play with it, okay? Study what I have up on the screen and go and play with it. Now, finally, we want to jump into the card catalog, okay? Because now let's just look at the card catalog here, and I want to show you something that should be sort of obvious, but we're going to call this search limitations, okay? Or search limits. So if you want to use search limitations, let's just start off by looking at the fact that all of these card catalog records have dates. They have date ranges attached to them. And oftentimes these tax lists or newspaper tax lists or personal property tax lists or things like that have these dates. So even if you're searching maybe like 1850, but Pennsylvania direct tax, this listing has 1798, maybe you want to enter in a different keyword or title. But let's look at this thing. I love city directories. Or let's just put city directory. City directories are one of the most underrated, underutilized search features here. So if you want to, let's look at city directories, because oftentimes you'll have them in different ranges. Let's just look at keyword. Okay. Let's look at Connecticut, okay? I've done extensive research throughout Connecticut city directories from my paternal line, and this is very interesting because the state of Connecticut has kept immaculate records when it's come to city directories, and these are a goldmine of research. And so, what you want to do is look at these date ranges, and they exist in collections across time from different counties, and this is something you want to use. So the search limits, though, because you might just say, oh, Connecticut U.S. city directories. Maybe you can search something here, and maybe you might not find that. But pay attention to the fact that a lot of these collections are sub-collections with their own date ranges. And this is another hidden feature in a way that sort of should help you understand how to use the card catalog better. Because if you're going through this general search, this stuff is just going to be a wall of suggestions hitting you, okay? It really is an information game, right? It's a game of returns because, again, I sort of think about the fact that if there are 40 million records and the limitations of a web interface can only show you 100, let's just say, you don't even have 100th of what you're actually looking for, 1,000th, 1,000,000th of what you're looking for by ratio. So how do you get access to that? Well, you have to be smart about how you search, and you have to be smart about the tools that you're using and understanding these collections and the ranges and sort of filtering through these collections so that you are sort of upping your game and you want to go through these collections and then do individual searches. But oftentimes we don't pay attention to these things. So they're right there in front of us. So that's suggestions, Soundex, search limits. And the last thing that I think is very, very important are newspapers. Okay, we talked about suggestions, Soundex, and search limits. The final and bonus one here is called subscriptions. So when we have different levels of subscriptions on Ancestry, obviously, from the intro ones to the World Explorer to all access, right? I, over the years, have upgraded my subscription level because it has allowed me to search broader indices, right? And my story here is interesting, and maybe you can relate to this, but what I've done and what's opened up a lot of doors and is a hidden search tool for me are newspapers. Newspapers.com. So if you're on a different subscription level with Ancestry, you definitely have access to newspapers.com. And you might be thinking, well, how much of our lives were actually published in a newspaper, right? Give me a break. But honestly, quite a bit. I researched my grandfather and I found, he owned a Texaco station in the city, in the town he lived in. And I just said, well, let me just do a search for him. And over the range of years, just say 10 years, there were literally a few hundred articles. Everything from his Texaco station getting robbed a few times. Luckily, they didn't steal anything. He had removed his cash box the night before, thank goodness, to him saving somebody's life in an accident outside once. So you don't know what you're going to get, and it's super, super powerful to me. What is on newspapers.com? So what I want to sort of enable you to do is to understand some of the features. So here's where I want you to start. Right, go into your trees, right, and go and search for your ancestor's profile, and then go into the hints, okay? Now, you can use the basic search key and go and search newspapers for your ancestors, but I like to use hints. They just, basically it's like sitting down in a restaurant and they're serving you food, right? Why go out and have to stand in line and get food? They'll bring it right to you. Just go to your ancestor hints. A great place to start. If you don't find anything, go and use the search features that we've talked about. But really, just look at the records, scroll down, right? And as you scroll down, I have this blurred out, and I apologize for that if it looks kind of hard in the eyes, but there's a lot of private information here I just really don't want out. But you go down and look, newspapers.com, obituary index, okay? And you can find and search that. And if you have an Ancestry subscription, you can head on over there, okay? Or newspapers.com subscription. If you guys want access to an Ancestry.com upgrade, head on over to Family History Foundation, or the link below. I have what I call the family discount, because you can use my Family History Foundation link, and if you head on over there, Ancestry will give you a deal, okay? And again, I'm disclaiming this is a sponsored link. I will get commissions from that at no cost to you, but just throwing that out there. Do it if you want to, if you feel obliged to do so. But my story, sort of rounding out this segment of the video, is that it was this exact obituary index that you're looking at right now. And I read it and I said, oh my gosh, I think I've found the answer. And they were laid to rest in the Ontario City Cemetery outside Los Angeles. And since I had happened to be going there anyway, guess what I did? I had to make a side trip to go and visit that cemetery, which, by the way, I love. Every time I travel, I make some sort of family history research event out of it because I love it so much. But when I got there, I found them. And it brings like a tear to my eye. It just really makes me emotional sometimes because, and I hope you can relate to this is what family history is about. This is the story, the digging, the finding. And I had uncovered something that I had been researching for quite a while, and I actually photographed and I uploaded those photographs to Find the Grave, and I created an expanded memorial for them so that other family researchers can actually know this, and really it'll help them in their research. So the documentation, what I found on newspapers.com was amazing. And I found more once I upgraded my subscription to newspapers.com. Oh my gosh, I just inputted their names in there and I got so much more about their lives and who they were. Because back in the 50s and 40s and 60s, people's lives were published in a way that, is sort of information security violations in this day and age, maybe, right? But it said they went to a birthday party at so and so's house, and they had their cliques and their circles, and they publicized these things in small town newspapers. So brilliant avenue of research. So again, I want to round this out by just sort of thanking you all for being here. I appreciate your time. Thanks for liking and subscribing and supporting this channel. Give it a like, give it a subscribe, and share it. Share this so that people know. And if you guys want to get in contact, let me know. Hit me up, and I'm happy to work with you guys. And anyway, take care. Let's make family history a household word. See you in the next one.